Welcome all you future educators, current educators, and lifelong learners to another video where we take technology, teaching strategies, and emerging trends to create engaging educational experiences. Copyright. Even when we think we know it, it tends to rear its ugly head and confuse us even more. Rather than finding some random resources and hoping that they're copyright compliant, let's go out and find some materials that we know will be good to use. We'll be looking for licensed material and Creative Commons materials. If you need to know the differences between those, we have a video that will be linked down in the description. That link will also talk a little bit more about public domain and fair use clauses, but since those areas are a little bit gray, let's focus on the sure thing in this video, licenses and Creative Commons. Let's see what resources we can go out there and find. The first thing we are going to look at is setting the mood with some music and audio files. Finding some good background music can set the feeling of your video from peppy and upbeat to ominous and daring. When finding audio clips, don't forget that you can also trim them down. And so that means if there is a part of a song that you love, you don't have to use the whole song. Rather, trim it down to that sweet, sweet beat that you need. Also, don't forget to look for sound effects so that you can boost those individual areas of your video or other media as well. Now, some easy sites to get started with on finding music and audio files are YouTube's Audio Library and Bensound. Those two sites offer a variety of sounds and music for free. If you can't find something on there, you can still check out Soundstripe, Audio Jungle, and Sound Bible to see if purchasing a track will solve your problems. Now, once you've got your music set, you need to get some images in there. If you use real images, it helps build a solid connection with your video, especially if you're telling a story. If I tell a story about Caleb, a third grade teacher, it doesn't mean nearly as much to you if I don't have Caleb's picture on the screen. Once I put a picture on the screen, you can connect to him better. Now, you can also use abstract images and icons to get concepts across, and I actually find that mixing both together in some videos makes a good effect and breaks up some of the repetitiveness of the video. Just remember that using icons is perfectly fine in an app-dominated world. Now, you've seen that a lot on the videos in this channel, and it works fine. Also, don't forget that you can mix and match shapes to build out some abstract images. So again, many of our abstract images are a PNG file with a circular callout in Camtasia as a background. We put them together, and it looks like a solid circle image or a solid square image. So if we want to use images, where do we start with finding them? The first one we can do is to look up Creative Commons licenses on common image search engines like Google Images or Flickr. Just make sure that you change the filter to only show Creative Commons marked items. Otherwise, you'll spend so much time finding that perfect image just to realize that you can't use it. If that doesn't work, you can visit some community-built sites that also have all of their images on Creative Commons licenses. Unsplash and Pixabay are two good ones for finding realistic images. Pixabay and freeicon.io are sweet sites for finding those abstract images and icons. Finally, you can check stock image sites like ThinkStock Photos, Adobe Stock, or iStock Photos for additional pay images. Now, if you want to get multiple shots of a single character, you will more than likely need to go the pay route and get those photos off of a stock site. However, realize that that can be expensive, so be sure to shop around and get the best price possible. If you go with free sites, they're obviously less costly, but be aware that you may have to take them into a photo editing program like Adobe Photoshop and clean them up a little bit. A lot of times the community loaded ones will not be touched up in Photoshop, so you may have to spend a little bit more time working on them to get them ready to go. Two last things to remember about images is that if you have an option to download a certain size, always download the biggest file in a pixel by pixel basis. This is because you can always shrink down an image and it keeps its clarity, but if you try to take a small image and blow it up, it will pixelate like crazy and look terrible. Second, always download the PNG if it's an option rather than a JPEG. JPEGs are usually smaller in size, but PNGs hold a transparent background. So if you want an icon or something that you can see through to the background, PNG is always the way to go. That's why I've just gone ahead and gotten in the habit of doing a PNG as default. Now sometimes we're going to need to fill bigger gaps of space in our videos or lessons, and that's where stock videos can come into play. You can buy small clips of video that may demonstrate a concept you're talking about that you would never have access to go and capture yourself. Sites like Storyblocks or Videvo are good solid sites to gather up some stock video resources. Lastly, now that your multimedia is ready to go, let's go ahead and add in some special effects that'll give us that extra spice we're looking for. Those can be incredibly hard to create on your own, but instead of creating them, most video production software have asset sites on the outside where you can purchase these types of special effects for easy use in your work. So for example, if you use Camtasia Studio, you can just go and look up Camtasia assets in Google, and it will take you to a world of easy to add possibilities for your videos. So searching for the above media files and assets should get you ready to go with your video or lesson creation. There are a couple of last tips to keep in mind when toying around with finding media assets for your projects. 1. There are advantages for pay licenses and Creative Commons licenses. Using either is fine, so don't worry about doing one or the other. Feel free to mix it if you need to. 2. Figure out a good storage system for the media that you do gather. If you find some good, solid, generic icons or photos or music, you can always use those in future projects. But nothing stinks more than knowing that you had that song that you loved and you aren't able to find it again on the YouTube audio library. So go ahead and get a file storage system and make sure you save your assets in that system. Third, remember that if you're working with a client and you purchased media or an asset for the project, unless your contract specified that you get to keep that asset in the end, the company owns the license that you bought and they get it at the end of the project. You are not allowed to use it again in the future without repurchasing it. Now they can use it if they want, but you cannot. So with that being said, there are definitely other stock sites out there with pay and free options. So we're curious, what ones do you guys use? Have you used some that you would normally go to for audio, video, and images? If so, let us know in the comments below. And that way we can all start gathering up those resources to make our media just a little bit sweeter. Also, if you like content like this where we talk about enhancing your classes, using technology and teaching strategies, be sure to hit that subscribe button, as we will try to get new content out there to help you guys make those educational experiences just a little bit better. In the meantime, good luck, keep building, and we look forward to seeing what you guys create.